So as you can see, this is quite a large radio. This is the dial, which flips up. In the very short-lived 1950s, late 40s, early 1950s style. Philips dropped this pretty quickly like a hot potato because mostly, and I hate to say it, housewives used to clean the back of these dials and they weren't protected, so all the lettering and numbering rubs off on them. It's basically the same as the 140, which is in a Bakelite case. I've done one of those before, but I'm not sure whether I actually made a video on it. The cabinet is in about 80% condition. It needs a bit of a touch up here and there, and the top is beginning to craze. Also, there's some sticker marks on the side. They look original actually, because where they've been removed is actually very nice and shiny, like the original finish. So they might have been the original stickers on it. Now, it is possible to take this out of the case, and the instructions suggest taking it out for the... It's actually quite heavy. Taking it out for the aerial trimmer for the shortwave bands. I'm not sure I'm going to do that because everything else is possible without taking it out of the case, and it'll be a right pain in the proverbial to take it out of the case. It looks maybe, yeah, I'd say the speaker's definitely had something done to it. Maybe changed or something. A very long time ago. Or maybe, yes, I would say that that's just been unsoldered. And there's a screw up in there which disconnects the dial string from the pointer. I have swept it out. It actually, when I bought this, it actually reeked of cigarette smell, but it seems to have dissipated a little bit, although I'm reluctant to take it inside until I clean it. One of the dial light covers is missing. In fact, both dial lights are missing. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to reproduce that, but it's got to be possible. So I'll tip it up and show you the chassis. So it's quite crowded here, and some of these caps will be a little bit tricky to get to. Fortunately, there's nothing up in there, so it is shielded. It's all just coils and trimmers. It has, well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 trimmers underneath. There's a capacitor down here, which is going to be a bit tricky to get to because this shaft is covering up part of it, but it doesn't look impossible. These licorice caps or bumblebee, they're not bumblebees, but these caps will have to definitely go because they begin to split. This one is beginning to split. It's just a 1 microfarad These, yeah, this one has wet its pants by the looks of it. There's all wax coming out of it, so it must have got very hot. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There's one right back inside there. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 or 15 capacitors replaced, so it's going to be a fairly big job. Otherwise it looks pretty good. It does work, so that's a bonus. I remember trying it about 3 years ago when I first bought it. There's those nice red felts on it which leave red marks everywhere. I'll replace those. That's the output transformer. The actual mains transformer looks good, hasn't leaked anywhere. So there's another trimmer up there. It's a 6 valve set, so so it's got 6 and 8, a 6A and 7, I guess. Actually, the pins look very badly burnt. 6 and 8, 6A and 7, 6 and 8 again, another 6 and 8, and a 6M5, and a 6X5 rectifier. They were getting into newer valves at this stage, and I think this was built 1951, 52. And as I said, it's the same chassis as the 140. This is a 125, by the way. And yeah, this nice 8-inch speaker, so it should sound very nice in this cabinet. Okay, I'll get into doing the capacitors and we'll be back. This is my TC 377 tape recorder. Problem was this capacitor, and it was running slow to not at all, and I'd replaced that capacitor maybe 10 years ago and it hadn't been used all that much, mainly because this was put into storage. So I managed to get some new ones, and it's working very well now, except that one of the belts, this was the rewind belt, and it snapped after about 3 hours of use. So I pulled out my box of belts, and lo and behold, I had a 377 kit, which is the same as the 366, the 388 and the 399. I replaced the belt. This was the belt here, and it was pretty easy to do, but the main drive belt, which is a little bit loose, that is another matter to replace, as you have to take the whole head block off and then sort of somehow manage to thread it around the flywheel. So, also that might replace that while I'm here too. So this one is rather, anyway, that's the counter belt, and that's pretty loose as well, although the counter is working. Okay, so let's turn it on and I'll show you it working, although I won't be able to play any sound. So as you can see, it is working beautifully. So maybe I will have to replace the counter belt. Just let me do that. No, it seems the small belt has stretched beyond it gripping anymore, so we'll just have to put up with that. It's not important anyway. This is mainly just a playback machine now. So this is working very well. One thing to take note of is this pause button here. This goes off, it comes off clockwise and goes on anti-clockwise. And that's fooled me a couple of times. It's been quite a battle to get this off. Although once I realised it went clockwise, it was easy to get off. So yes, so this one relies on just tension across the heads. It's quite a late one, around about 1977 or so. And yeah, it doesn't have any pressure pads or any flip-up pads to do the pressure on the heads or keep the tape on the heads. That'll be about the end of this one. I'll show it to you once it's back in its casing. I'm not sure whether I'll bother to put this belt on or not. So it's such an ordeal to get the head block off. I'll be back when I'll put it back in its case. So this is it back in its case, or cabinet, if you like to call it that, or its box. And it doesn't have the front put back on it yet, but that's the next thing, I think, once I've tested a little bit more and secured the new capacitor, because it's quite a bit smaller than the original and the RS one from 10 years ago. And I know it was 10 years ago because I found this as well. So this is the original cap, and I've written on it TC 377 November 2013. So November 13.